Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now, with the fantastic news that Tower of God has started once again, being something that I just heard before this video was started, I'm actually going to be ultra happy throughout this video. Now, you may think this is a bit odd and it's a bit immature, but in reality, I'm a massive fan. And without it publishing new work, I haven't had anything to really go through. And I know the anime is about to kick off in a few days as well. It should be kicking off in less than 2 weeks, so we should be getting Tower of God Season 2 anime. That means I'm now on a rush to do all of my my episodes, and let's see how this goes. Now, I don't have unlimited time, and that's just the reality. In South Africa, where load shedding is going up by stage, so that means soon we will be having the heavier allotments again, and that will mean that I will totally stop uploading anything to the channel until it comes down, because I just can't stand corrupting my videos over and over again for no reason. Okay, so yeah, here we go. We're starting off with episode 55, and we're heading on till wherever I go. Okay, so we get Han Sang-yu confronting Lobo Biaren. Now, here's something to note. This is number 67 of the Red unit. Red is Royal Enforcement Division, right? It's RED. So we know that he's number 67. So his rank is 67 within the Red unit. And they are definitely very powerful. Remember, he managed to take down a princess of Jahad. Now, considering how powerful the princesses are, this makes him most likely in the higher echelons of power. In order to be a princess with a 13-month series, you a high ranker, at least, right? So if you're thinking about it, Yuri just receiving the Black March would put her in the early 300 high rankers in the tower, right? So crazy powerful, and they're not even a match for the top 100. And we know that this crazy guy over here, number 67, is number 67 of the Royal Enforcement units, who's stronger than a rank 500 princess. So yeah, we get an idea on how crazy powerful he is just off the bat. Okay, so here we go, moving down. The reason why I'm spoiling all of that there right now is this is full spoilers, and number two, this is where the story starts kicking in, and we don't have to analyze so much of the mindset. There is going to be some analysis of the mindset for the author, but this will start phasing off as we reach season 2. Season 2 part 1, there's some analysis on critical thinking, and then after we get to the workshop battle is where we get into plot point recurrence. That is the whole idea behind it. And here we have an Enema versing Han Sang. Now, here's something that you have to remember. Han Sang-yu managed to survive a battle with Evan Cal there, right? Regardless of what you think of it, remember, Evan Cal is number 57 at this point. And before the session, most probably was in the top 100. If Han Sang-yu could survive in that battle, let alone fight in that battle, that makes him quite powerful, makes him quite dangerous. If I had to estimate his actual ranking, if he was going full out to get a ranking, I'd say he's between rank 150 and 200. So yeah, on the same rank as some of the Slayers. He is extremely powerful. Now obviously, as I said, he's on the same rank as some of the Slayers. There would be the weakest Slayers that there are, like Karaka, because remember, Karaka is in the top 200. His ranking was most probably somewhere in the high rankers, like 450, 500, in that range. So yeah, that's where Karaka was. And I guarantee you, Han Sang-yu versus Karaka would be a very difficult fight, especially for Karaka, because Han Sang-yu is mad. And we get that he's a genius wave controller. I love this here, breaking the third wall. This is a comic. Did you forget? Right? And here's the funny thing. When you actually do that, it works a lot in reality. When you hit machines, they generally work. It's a joke, and it's for real. I'm talking about this here from the point of technical support in IT. I actually did quite a bit of it at one point, and we had several PCs who, no matter what the problem was, the solution was simple: give it a solid boot. And when I say a solid boot, you leave a dent in it and the computer starts working. You don't hit where the motherboard is, you just hit somewhere else, and it will start working. And it will work like that there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then when it happens again, you can try and fix every single individual part, put it back together 101 times and take it apart, and nothing will change. But the moment you go put it down, plug it all in, and give it a solid boot, leaving another dent in its cover, it switches on. So yeah, weird thing with electronics. A little bit of fun as well. Now, here's something else to note. At this point in the story, Baum's power isn't ridiculous. Remember, Baum is actually restricted heavily because of his contract. And the moment he gives up that contract, which is later on, he starts becoming ridiculous. I don't think he ever forms another contract again after this. And when Baum releases power, we get to understand that he's crazy. Remember when he jumps off the Hell train on at the final station? He's using pure irregular power without a contract. There is no contract on the floor. Over here, we learn that on each floor, the regulars make a contract with the Guardian, and that's how they operate Shinsu. Baum doesn't, as far as I know. He doesn't do it at all. That's why he's so crazy, and that's how come he was weaker at this point. He most probably has this massive shackle holding back his power. Okay, so I'm just going to be skipping through some of this. I am reading it, and I'm actually like super excited. I'm a little bit giddy that because I know the comic is starting up soon, and you have no idea how happy I'm gonna be to be reading TOG again. Uh, what I mean by soon is if you're seeing this here, this is going to be for the 22nd. So if you're seeing this here, that means that next week we must probably getting TOG. Yes, I know I'm describing it as next week, and that is because it's a Monday release. So we should be getting TOG on Monday, and I suspect that we'll get 2 in forward release or 3 in forward release. And we're going to be catching up with it as time goes by until we come to the end. I'm not going to be going premium again on the story because the last time I went premium on it, I actually had money. Rachel at this point is actually following the words that she's been given by Waryun. Remember, Waryun is playing the game. Waryun is playing Kun and playing Rachel at the same time. Remember, this is after the test and they're talking about what was happening. So Waryun was guiding Rachel on how to kill Baum, because if she takes care of Baum, then Fug gets an irregular, and if Fug gets an irregular, they can become a real danger to the tower. Now, here's the reasons why they would be a danger. The order of the tower is set by the 10 great families and Jahad. Jahad rules the supreme order, and then the 10 great families fall under Jahad. Remember, none of the 10 warriors can beat Jahad, and even when they team up together, they can't even fight him properly. And even if they tried, they could still lose very easily. He is crazy compared to the rest of them. The best chances they would have had is a pairing of Alan Grace and V, right? That was their best chance at beating Jahad. The other pairings would have been Handolak Bloodmeadow with Kun Edwan with those two. That would have made a very strong fight, along with if Tupari joined them. So yeah, those are the crazy combinations that could take down Jahad. And it's not kill him, that's just take him down. And then they can go up further and keep climbing up the tower without Jahad in the way. So here we go. We see Kun unraveling his plans. This is basically spoiling what I already spoiled. And yeah, here we go with what happened to Quant. And this isn't even all of the spoilers. Remember, Kun is still being manipulated at this point, and then we find out that a guide did this here. Guides aren't supposed to be part of the first floor tests. Guides have their own way. They don't have to pass tests to keep moving up the tower. They are somewhat special in that manner, but even a regular guide does get to take part in tests and they can keep climbing. So there we go, the end of episode 55. Let's go to episode 56. So we're about to get back to Hyuga vs Hansang Yu. Now, here's the shocking part, right? Hansang Yu is not just a wave controller. He's a wave controller plus he's an enema. Plus we saw that he is very good with the lighthouse. The deep sea fish. I love this exposure, right? This is his enema, and you can see how crazy it is. This is somebody from an enema family, Lopobiaren. And look at this monster that he just launched. Make this thing look like a pipsqueak. Now, here's something else to note, right? When we find out later on that there's divisions amongst the families, we also find out that Lopo Bia is one of the most supportive of Jahad. They also have some kind of dysphoria amongst each of the families. We know that Tramarai's memories are all gone. We know that Pobadao Gustang still has all of his memories. We know that Kun Edwan is very self-indulgent. We know that Ha is a hothead, irrational, wild thing, right? Those are the only things that we actually know. We know that Arye Han is the strongest amongst them, and he is totally loyal to Jahad because Jahad beat him. It's the way of his own practice, respect the strong. Now, here is the shocking thing, right? Everybody gets information on those who join their floor. So when Bam entered the floor, he's supposed to be registered as an irregular. The fact that he isn't means that his information was altered. And if you're thinking about it carefully, the only person who could have altered it is Hiron. Hiron gave them the wrong information. He didn't say that Bam was an irregular. He gave away that Rachel was an irregular. So yeah, that's something to think about. But he did give it to Han Sang-yu. Remember, Han Sang-yu got all this info already before anybody came up. Okay, so there we see Han Sang-yu super excited, and we're on to episode 57. Hoping that this one here goes a little bit further than I'm expecting, because that way there I can really launch into this here on the heavy. So yeah, here we go with Liroro and Han Sang-yu talking. Okay, so we see something. Fentaminum implemented the system. So we know that Fentaminum altered whatever system was in the tower to ensure that it was harder to find irregulars. Because remember, it was a different format for each of these tests. Irregulars could just climb as fast as they wanted to. And we don't know how long ago Fentaminum entered the tower. But all that we do know is that Fentaminum entered before Enryu. So we know that Enryu passed through the regular system before he reached the 43rd floor, and we know that after Fentaminum the next two irregulars were crazy powerful as well and almost on the same level. That makes this the third irregular after Fentaminum who entered, being Rachel, and the fourth being Bam. Bam is going to be on this crazy level more than likely, if not greater. Oh no, looks like I'm wrong. So so it looks like Enryu came before Fentaminum and then Yuri came through. So we don't know what the power of regulars were prior to Fentaminum's entrance. Okay, so that's just something that you have to know. The rate at which Yurik climbed the tower was a different story. I like the statement because this actually foreshadows what's about to happen. Remember, Leroro is going to quit once he finds out what Han Sung Yu does to Bam. And he actually needed these two to quit. The reason is quite simple. When he brings Bam back as Viol, he doesn't need these two to be around because Viol is going to pass the test. Remember, Bam actually has two identities. He's a regular from the tower and he's an irregular from outside the tower. He's the irregular from outside the tower who was resurrected by the power of the god outside the tower, who could possibly be the god from outside the tower because we know that his body was possessed by a power from the god. Could be the god's power itself, whatever it is in the situation. So there is a complicated one, and that's why I think he is actually the Axis. And here we go. Here comes the big one. Okay, so here we go on the list of fishermen who made it through. Andorossi, Chanwa, Hong, Burrogue, and Anak Jahad. Now there was a change in the enemy. Instead of this group of people, they put they put the guy from the Ho Ho team. That's how I describe him. They put him in there, right? So then we see the spear bearers. There's 4 of them who made it through. Alexi Amigo. Now remember, Amigo, we see him again during season 2 during the workshop battle before the Archimedes. So he's still around. We know Paracule is around because we see him on the Archimedes. Rak, we know, is still around. So this is all 3 who are still here. 1, 2, we know they're still there in the future. Chanwa Hong disappears. Shibisu is still there. Hats is still there. Nare does proceed from this floor, but we don't know where she goes. Right. The next we have is Kunaguero Agnes. He's still with the team. And Levin, we don't know where he is. Then we get the 2 wave controllers, Bam and Panskul Lore. Both of them pass. Right. And we both know that they still keep going. Now here's another crazy trick that wouldn't have worked on Bam. You see, due to Bam's high Shinsu resistance, you can't make him feel pain with Shinsu like this. Even though this is an attack of pressure. Okay, this is perfect. This gets me to the point where I really want to be, episode 58. So here we go. Oh, this is gonna be so fun. Meet the administrator and take his test. Okay, so we see that all of them are shocked. Now, the reason why they're shocked is this isn't something regular. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to be a little bit quiet for this one, yeah. So here's something that you have to understand about the way they're describing these tests. When you're going up the tower and you're taking these tests from the administrator, they are more difficult than the ones that they have right now. The reason for this is the administrator will seek into your heart and see what the wish you have is. Then the administrator will judge your power versus your wish. So if your wish sorry, if your wish is to become a god, then if it is impossible for you to become a god, the test will be impossible for you to pass. So that ball which was set in the first test is actually Rachel's. Remember that there. For her to pass, she needed a miracle to win. It was impossible, even if she had Black March with her, and she managed to jump into the eel's mouth and stab it the same way that Palm did, which she couldn't do. If she stabbed the ball and she asked for the assistance from Black March when Black March ignited, all that it would have done is chip the ball. She would have to have kept doing that there for who knows how long before the ball would have broken. And that's possibly something that she wouldn't have been able to do because of the extreme pressure and the fact that she most probably would have run out of energy long before the ball broke. So yeah, it's a sad thing to say, but that's the reality. And here's something which they didn't know: only regulars can take those tests. And here is the shock on everyone, right? Remember, irregulars are these beasts. Yurik was stronger than high rankers on floor 100, and if you consider that their floor 100 Yurik is stronger than high rankers, and in the top echelon of high rankers he was stronger than Ariehan. So yeah, we will go back all the way back down and we'll just say he just said he's an irregular and he's on this floor and he matched up to Quant in the test. Oh crap, we got a monster on our hands. He can definitely kill him, but that's a whole different story there. Okay, I'm actually going to stop at the end of this episode. I've decided that this is going to be it. Okay, and here is something to talk about, right? We see that they're talking about Bowman to see the administrator. You see, here's where the fight happens, where Kun says he is not interested in taking the test with an irregular. Here's something else that differs from the anime, and this is one of the points where the spoilers can be said. You see, the way that this fight goes, Rak fights Kun and he beats him up, and then when he goes off, everybody starts joining Rak. Okay, so here we go. This is over. Okay, I want to get to the end of this here. I want to have a look at whatever else is here. This exchange isn't really all that important. There's a little bit of mentality in it, and it's actually a very crooked mentality. When you want to destroy the system, sometimes the best way to do it is actually to enforce it. It sounds weird, and it's Hansang Yu, right? Think about this here carefully, and you'll understand what he's saying. What he's doing, actually. He's enforcing the system, he's getting rid of the problems. But in doing so, he's tricking them a little bit by pulling off a little bit of a fallacy. Instead of actually killing them, he's recruiting them to another agency and having them restart as a regular. So he's playing a two-sided game and he's restricting their power. When they reach a certain floor, they're going to get more crazy, they're going to get more powerful, and that's when they're going to start getting notoriety. Oh yeah, and just for by the way, there is one more person in the tower besides the irregulars who can use power irregularly. Right? I know this here sounds weird, and that is Baekryun from Willa Yuksong. They don't mention him, but according to what we heard, without a contract he could use Shinsu. Now we know the 10 great families can use Shinsu without a contract, some of them, if they're particularly powerful, but they still need the contract to get their full power. Baekryun is on a similar level to the irregulars because he was crazy powerful with Shinsu in his original start. And as he went up the tower, he got more powerful, just like everybody else, but that is how it went for him. I like this one. He calls himself a crocodile. Alright, perfect. So that ends episode. Uh, sorry about this, yeah. Episode 58. Yeah. So we went 56 to 58. That was a nice little climb. So yeah, let's talk about all of this here. So in the previous part, what we went through was a lot of small things that actually host a massive amount of story for the future story. And here's exactly what I mean. The whole incident with Kun, Bam, Rak, and everything that was going on over there, it's all orchestrated by Han Sang-yu this time. It's not orchestrated by Hwa-ryun. Hwa-ryun is now free to move around as a guide. She's no longer functioning as a regular. So yeah, her function has shifted. And unlike their rules, she's now under the rules of a guide. She's no longer under the rules of a regular, so she can interfere with tests, she can do weird things. It's all up to whatever the guides see as their future. Red witches can't influence their own deaths. They must accept death when it comes, so she can't stop herself from dying. She can only change her path moving forward. So yeah, she can have a brighter future up the tower, but she can't stop her death from approaching. And other red witches will be able to tell if she interferes with that, and then she'll be punished. But beyond all of that, there's something else did happen that we have to understand, and that is what Kun did for tricking everybody. The reason why it was so important that he tricked everybody, and the fact that the anime shows it as them catching on instantly, is quite a big difference, because it shows that they weren't willing to join the irregular straight off the bat. Remember, joining an irregular is a dangerous thing. Irregulars are trouble and chaos, and Bam is a ton of trouble and chaos. As far as we've seen him, he's been trouble and chaos all the way into Lopobia family's territory. So that is the reality behind it. He even brought chaos to Fug. Remember, Fug is a total mess. 2 of their Slayer spots are now actively following the irregular, and that is Yama, the Lopobia Slayer, and Karaka, the Jahad Slayer. And then we have Bam, and I don't know which Slayer rank he's going to fill in for. He's a nominee, that means he's nominated for one of the seats. He is meant to fight one of the 10 great families. Remember, Alan and V are actually part of the 2 who formed Fug, right? They're part of the reason why Fug was formed. So they most probably have a seat of power for them within it, so they can challenge the 10 great families and continue the march up the tower. It's actually very important that they keep climbing up the tower, and that I'll explain at a later date. Now, with Bam captured by Tramurai, the only person who possesses a threat to Tramurai is Grace Mashaya Lazlak. So he's most probably going to have to show up, or as I said, we're going to need Yurik Mazino and Ryu of Fentaminum. One of those 4 has to show up in the season to change things up at the end of the Princess arc. There's no way that it's just going to be 2 great families heading it off with each other. In terms of the actual story, we've had the impact of Pobarao Gustang and Tramurai. Those are the 2 irregulars who we've met. We've had Yurik Mazino, 3 out of 16, right? Actually, wait, no, we have more than that. If you're counting, there's 13 warriors who entered instantly, then there's the 3 irregulars and the 2 that's... Yeah, 3 out of the 16, and then if you add the other 2, it's actually 5 out of 18 that we know from the irregulars in the tower. And we aren't really all that far into the story. I'm expecting for things to start accelerating in this next season when the story starts again, and I'm expecting us to get quite a bit further in the story. I think the Princess arc is going to take us somewhere very important, and from there I think the 10 great families are now going to start phasing into the story really quickly. I think we should have at least 6 of them into it before the end of season 4. Before the end of season 3, and in season 4 everybody, all the irregulars will be active except for Fentaminum. and we're only going to get Pentaminum in the last season after the final fight. I don't think he's going to play an important fighting role. So yeah, that's the whole thing with the tower, and I hope that we all do enjoy what's about to come. Now, that is just a guess, and that is just my way of saying that I can see that as a future possibility. Um, I don't know why I went and discussed the future on this here. I'm supposed to discuss a spoiler with regards to what's going on over here. So yeah, that was all that was there for me to discuss. I'll catch you all in the next one, so have a good day.